All right. Hey, everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me right now. This is our first inaugural webinar using the Zoom platform. So we may have some kinks to work out. Just kind of wanted to test the streaming audio. We're now able to stream the system audio live to you guys without having to go through the microphone, which is a huge plus from what we had previously with GoToWebinar. So yeah, hopefully everyone can hear me. Yeah, good stuff. All right. Got a couple confirmations there in the chat window. Excuse me. All right, so hopefully everyone's enjoying the the late winter that we're having out there. If you're in North America, it's pretty much just snow everywhere, I think, in North America. Anyways, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off here. And yeah, so apologies if there's any little kinks along the way, because this is our first actual time using the Zoom platform for our webinar. I'll go through all the, yeah, someone's warm in Texas. Fantastic. All right, so Russ says it's warm down in Texas, so I guess we should all move down there. Anyways, okay, so I guess I should give you guys the introduction, the general introduction here. We are going to do a webinar based on kind of introduction to Character Creator. We're going to go into a lot of other stuff in Character Creator. Hopefully not spend too much time on the character design, because I think a lot of you are probably familiar with it, but I will go into some of the basics. Just for those of you who are not familiar with Character Creator. And a little bit later on, we're going to get into more of the pipeline stuff. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to export OBJs, FBXs directly from Character Creator. And also in 3D Exchange, we're going to do some exporting. We're going to do some morphing in Sculptris, actually, because Sculptris is the free program I often use in lieu of ZBrush or ZBrush, wherever you come from in the world. Okay, so we're going to get all that stuff taken care of in just a moment. We are recording this webinar, as always, so if you have any questions or if we're going too fast for you or anything like that, you can review it on your own time. We're going to send you a cool little YouTube link where you can just watch it on your own time and pause it and whatnot. I'm not going to be answering any chat questions as we're going along here. I'm going to basically be waiting till the very end. There's a Q&A session at the very end there, so if you have any questions, there's a Q&A little section, I guess. You can punch in your questions in the Q&A section there. There's also a chat window, little section there. I'm not sure what you call these things, but I'm going to be, if I have any links to provide you guys, I'm going to be putting those in the chat window. Okay, so you can check that frequently. And feel free to chat away on the chat window if you want. But any questions I'm going to be looking for at the end are going to be in the Q&A session. Excuse me. And I'm not going to be really paying attention much to the chat window at this moment because I'm going to be focusing on doing the demo, okay? And it's just me, so I don't have a moderator to kind of help me with the chat. Anyways, okay, so yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. We're also going to be sending out a survey to you guys at the end of this webinar. So we highly encourage you to fill out that survey for us and give us any suggestions on topics you'd like to see in future webinars, as well as what you thought of this webinar. We're always looking for your feedback because we want to kind of, provide all the information to our users that they need to use our products in the funnest and most efficient way possible. Okay, so I think that covers it. Also, when you send us back that certificate, or not the certificate, the survey rather, if you send us back that survey, we're going to be providing you with a 10% off coupon for the content store. All right, so you can look forward to that. It's kind of a little incentive for you guys to check that out. Okay, but without much further ado, let's get right into it. What we're going to be doing first is I'm going to be designing kind of like an adolescent type of character, because I often get asked questions on like how do you create how do you design like smaller children or adolescents in Character Creator, because a lot of the demos that we do and tutorials that we have, we're basically always using adult characters. I'm not sure if you have noticed that, but that's mainly what we're using. So in this one, we're going to switch it up a little bit, get a kid character in here, and I'm going to show you some of the basics, and we shall go from there. Okay, so hopefully you can all see on the screen Character Creator. I have the option here to actually change windows that I'm showing, so I can actually secretly chat on Skype or something, and you guys can only see the Character Creator window, which is pretty cool. A new feature with Zoom, which is improved over the GoToWebinar. Okay, so female chick right here on the screen, and what we're going to do is I'm going to be showing you a couple of the things we're going to be using in this webinar. Now I got to switch over here to this Google Chrome. Okay, so hopefully now you can see Google Chrome on the screen. Okay, so I'll just check the chat window really quick. Everyone can see Google Chrome. All right, cool. All right, looks like we're good to go. Okay, just wanted to confirm that. Okay, so we're going to be using the Character Creator Essential bundle. This is a bundle that comes on the content store. I'd really highly recommend checking it out. I'm going to put this link in the chat window here as well. Oops, I put that in the wrong area there. There we go, chat window, there we go. So if you want to check this out, you can go check that link on the chat window there. Really essential. Provides a whole bunch of cloth bases that you can use, and I'll talk about the cloth bases in just a moment, or at the end of this webinar really, and also a bunch of morphs and skin settings here. So if you have Character Creator, honestly, it's kind of a no-brainer in my opinion to pick up this pack. If you have the resources, if you don't, maybe save up for a month or two and pick it up, because this is really the pack that you need that will get you all started with Character Creator. And without it, you're not too limited, but there's a ton of stuff in here, like presets for morphs, and I'll run you through a couple of those as well, and a lot of presets for skin and detailed decals, whatever you want to call it, scars and blood and stuff like that, and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, check this out on your own time. I don't want to spend too much time kind of just browsing through the internet here on this webinar, but a couple of things here I wanted to mention as well. A couple of websites I can recommend if you're looking for, how to, just little tips and hints that you can use when you're trying to create a childlike character. So I'm going to post these in the chat window here as well. All right. Whoops. Something here. Okay. And let's do the other one here as well. This is mastering proportions. Okay, make sure this is in the chat window. Okay, cool. So those are the websites that I'm going to be showing you right here. The first one is this. I just kind of randomly Googled these actually, but it kind of gives you a good overview of the the sort of facial features that you can expect when you're creating children. These ones here, the list of items here, these are the ones you want to pay attention to here. So for babies, for example, plumper cheeks, large head in proportion to the face. Just a couple of tips that you can use when you're trying to model a baby character. The child face is like these ones right here. I found these very very useful in the past when creating my own child characters. The young adult face and the aging adult face. We also have sliders that are included actually with that pack that I just mentioned to you, the essential pack. There's like an old slider and a young slider, which I'll show you in just a moment. In addition to that, you can just browse this page on your own time. And then mastering proportions. So this is when you're basically drawing a child's face, but it kind of goes similar when you're modeling the face as well. So this picture right here is a really super useful picture to kind of give you a demonstration of what you can look forward to when you're, or sorry, the features that you want to have when you're using a child's face versus an adult's face. All right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to just we had a little option here. Okay, so you should be able to see like kind of a red little cursor where my mouse is right now. This is kind of just a new another feature of Zoom, so you can kind of follow my mouse closer. All right, so hopefully you guys can all see that. Oops, I guess I need to keep that thing on. Okay, we'll just keep that on for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just close down Chrome right now. We're going to switch over to Character Creator really quick and get a move on here. Okay, so what we have right here is our typical character. Let's move this a little bit up here. And this is what you start with. So generally, you can start with a female character, but what I like to do is just reset everything back to a like androgynous type character. So it's basically ungendered character. All right, so to do that, just go up to your actor here and press reset. And that'll kind of just take off all the features for your character, except for the woman's underwear, okay? And you can just right-click on your character on the bra and select the bra there and just delete it like that. We can just do the same thing for the female underwear. Just right-click, select those and delete those. And then we'll throw on some boxers since we're gonna have a kind of a male child here, just for some people might prefer to have boxers on the character. All right, so we'll throw that on there right there. Okay, So this is, it already kind of basically looks like an adolescent, teen boy, I would guess at this point here. There's a couple of key sliders that you want to pay attention to though. So what you want to do is make sure you go up here to actor, okay? And this will kind of give you all the sliders. When you select actor, you'll have all these sliders showing up on the right here. You can see tons and tons and tons of sliders, okay? Each section has their individual sliders, pretty simple, straightforward. Some of these you may not have because I've purchased other packs, including Tokemotion content packs with custom morphs, and I'll show you how to create those later on in this webinar as well. But we're kind of a little bit behind on time. So what I'm going to do is just go into actor, and I have a couple that are already full body scale is one of the main ones here. So just type in full, you have actor, and this will basically be the size of your character in general. So what you can do is you can have a mini character, like a midget or a really tiny character. And for any of these parameters, by the way, if you want to reset them back to the default, if you kind of messed around with them and you forgot which value you had, you can just double click on the text. So I just double clicked on full body scale, and that'll take it back to the default value here, which in this case is 0. So this is the height of like an average male. So what you want to do is probably take it down a bit to about there, okay? And I'll show you a comparison with another character a little bit later on. Maybe a value of like -25, okay? Not too small. So full body scale, that's probably the first one you want to do, the first one you want to deal with. There's also body size as well. Size. Okay, so body size, if we mess around with this slider, you'll see it's kind of like thin and heavy set. So, you can use this to create like a heavier set child or a lighter child. I think, in those awkward adolescent years, you may have a little bit of a thinner body in some cases. So that's what I'm going to kind of go with in this webinar. Okay, everyone's different though. So I'm just going to kind of give you one example here. So we'll just go with like maybe a value of -11 or something like that. Okay, this is your typical gangly teenage boy or preteen boy. And on top of the body scale, we also have a value called height. Okay, now for height, if you type in height, there's a lot of heights. Okay, so you can see has all the brow, cheekbones, and everything like that. So if you only want the body height, you can just click on body. Okay, and then it'll show the pectoral height and all that stuff. And full body, it'll narrow it down to only the height. Okay, so here's another way you can just like do the height. And this height, as opposed to the previous body scale I showed you, this one kind of, notice it stretches out the body. So if you have a shorter height, it's going to thicken the body a little bit, or if you stretch it out, it's going to thin it out a little bit. That's one thing that the body scale doesn't do, okay? So this is a good one. Height is a good one for creating like short and stocky or tall and thin, okay? So I'm going to kind of just leave the height basically where it is because I just use body scale, and they're kind of similar, redundant in a lot of ways. Another one I like to use is hip size. Okay, so you can just basically type these into your search field up here again. Hip size, generally you're not going to have very large hips. You're going to have pretty thin hips if you're a teenager. Again, every body is different. So by no means follow this as a template, but hip length as well, you can kind of shorten that or lengthen that. But let's go ahead and just keep it like this for now. And I'm just going to make sure we have everything in the chat. Okay. Okay, good. Okay. Just making sure that no one's having any trouble here. Okay, so I think the body is pretty decent. And you can go into more detail stuff like thigh, for example, thigh size. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these sliders that I'm using may not be available with the default character creator. I can't remember which ones are which, to be honest, but thigh size, I'm just gonna bring that down a little bit. But if you wanna know which ones are included with the essential pack that I showed you earlier, you can twirl down these little sections here. So for example, the leg, twirl that down and select leg. Let's go into here. Okay, so these are the ones that are included in the leg. And if you deselect this essential item right here in the hierarchy, this is the only stuff. So thigh size is included, okay, with the default free version of Character Creator. However, all this essential stuff, if we click on that, you'll see this is all the stuff in the essentials. So stuff like calf size, knee bone size, thigh tone, and Achilles tendon. So really detailed stuff like this, you know, thigh tone like that, make the thighs more muscular, okay? That's just one of those small details that are covered in stuff like character creator or the essential pack. So knee bone size, you know, small stuff that are small things that are really difficult to model with the default version of character creator. Crotch width, okay, so you're spreading the legs apart, I guess, a bit more, okay? And without that, again, you don't have any essential stuff. So you can select and deselect whatever things you want in the hierarchy there. But I think that's pretty good for the body. We're not going to spend too much time on this because I got other stuff to cover. And again, you can always ask me questions in the Q&A section as well. So we're going to focus on the face right now. And back to that one page that we had here. The face, we're going to maybe not go this extreme with this child's face here. But what you want to do is, let me just move this out of the way here. Face variation by age. We're going to, you know, check out the this one here, the child face, basically. So, you know, ears that appear oversized is a big one normally because your head really hasn't grown into your ears yet. Apparently, your ears and your nose continue growing for your entire life. So that also goes with older people as well. Like super elderly, they have larger noses and larger ears because I guess those two parts never finish growing. Okay, and the nose is generally small, short, and wide, relatively flatter and less defined cheeks, and baby fat throughout the face. Okay, so you don't want any, like, most kids don't have like super angular faces. Okay, some might, but in general, we're going with the basic template here. Okay. By the way, if you want to just move to your character's face, there's a hotkey. You can press the J hotkey, and that'll just give you a face front view of your character. F hotkey will give you a front view like this, and the J hotkey will give you a direct front facial view like this. Really useful for going back and forth. Okay, so we don't need the body anymore. Let's take a look at the head stuff. So in the head, you can see the highlighted areas here in yellow. Those are areas you can just move by themselves if you just click and drag. So I'm going to make the chin like a little bit smaller. You can see on the right side there, my chin length slider goes lower and higher. All right, when we move that. So we want to have like a lower chin length. Generally, what I try and do is have larger eyes and smaller faces for children or adolescents. Okay, and you want to keep like maybe a bit of a wider nose. Okay. And you got to flare those ears out just like that. Okay. And ear size, you can make those larger as well. Okay. And I like to kind of maybe bring the brows up a little bit. And brow angle is a good one because, you know, your kids aren't going to be super angry like this normally. You want to kind of give them more of an innocent look. So you want to have like a more of a negative value on your brow angle. And the near brow or low brow, again, it's a arbitrary facial feature that you can really determine however you want. And you're going to have maybe more of a flat face like this, maybe a bit thinner lips. Okay. I'm just kind of trying to create basically that kind of bratty kid in high school that you, or maybe in junior high school, the bully bratty kind of kid. Okay, and jaw angle is another one. So I'm going to type in, or just go into jaw. There's jaw angle. There's double chin and stuff like that here as well. You know, jaw angle is a good one for creating a wider jaw. Okay, take it from the side here. You can see the jaw angle result difference right there. You just want to have it a bit fatter. The jaw size, we don't want it to be too large. Okay. Generally, you want a smaller jaw size. And the mouth, mouth size will normally be a little bit smaller at this point, I think. It generally works out better for me when I have a smaller mouth size for a smaller or for a younger character. Okay. And there we go. And I think the ears can maybe be flaked out a little bit or thrown out a little bit there as well. Yeah. Again, a lot of this stuff is very arbitrary, but I'm just kind of giving you an overview of the main things that that I kind of use for this stuff. Okay, so get those nice rounded ears, and I think we should be good to go. All right, I'm not going to worry again, like I said, too much about the small details, but we just want to have a character that looks smaller And eyes are important. That's one thing I forgot here is the eyes. So the eyes are the kind of the most important. For the eyes, I would say there's a round eyes, eye round one that I like to use. Okay, and so create much more innocent, round looking eyes. And I think that one is in the essentials. Yeah, so this one's in the essentials again. The slit eyes, I believe. So you can see without the essentials, there's not a whole lot in the eyes. You can increase the size a little bit, okay? Okay, so maybe something like that. We want the young kind of doe-eyed, wide-eyed innocence for our character here. So for the main ones, not really a lot you can do, but for the essentials, there's stuff like slit eye, for example. You can have like Asian characters, you can have their eyes at a different angle and stuff. For this one, I'll maybe have a value like -25. You can open them even wider. Okay, something like this. And maybe a little bit too extreme. Let's just do -10, something like that. I think it kind of looks maybe a little bit too alien-like as well. I don't want to spend too much time messing around with this for you guys, but just want to give you the basic overview. Okay, we're going to keep it reasonable like this. Okay, and there's lots of other eye stuff you can mess around with, but these are the main kind of features that you can use to create like a younger looking kid. And I think eye height. You can bring these a little bit towards the middle of the face a bit more. Slightly, okay? All right, and I think we're gonna just work with that, okay? Again, maybe a bit alien-like in some cases, but yeah, this is generally what you wanna do for your childlike characters. So what we're gonna do is just maybe throw on some hair there. Let's go to our hair here, and these are two packs that I really recommend as well, the conforming hair packs. These packs are really good at conforming to your character's skin. We finally have some more ethnic type hairs for darker skinned individuals, okay? It's been high in demand for a long time. And conforming hair part 2 as well. So, you know, kids these days probably have something like this, you know, there's that bratty kid in high school. All right, and all right, we're gonna work with that for the meshes. And there's also one more slider called Young that I mentioned before. So face Young. Okay, so this is one that you can use and you know, make it even younger. Okay, so you can see basically the mouth gets smaller. Okay, and all the features kind of go towards a little bit more towards the center of the face. That's one I like to use as kind of a overreaching young feature right there. And heart, there's a face heart as well. Right here, you can kind of use that to have a more angular face, okay? A little bit of a feature right there. Okay, kind of just reminds me of the bully brother off of Home Alone or something like that. Okay, we're just gonna work with that and throw that hair on there. I think that's fine. And yeah, okay, so the next part was talking about the skin really quickly. Should be kind of getting behind here. But what I want to do here is just adjust the skin a little bit, activate the appearance editor when your actor is selected. Okay, and this is where you can kind of modify the skin. It's, oh goodness, what's going on here? Oh. Behind the scenes, I'm kind of messing around with this Zoom interface here, trying to figure things out. Okay, and okay, so there we are. And then for the skin, we'll just throw in some freckles there, maybe. So we're just gonna mess around with the skin on the head, not on the body at this point. Okay, so go to skin head up here, skin head base, head surface normals here. These head surface normals, you wanna generally have these fairly low, because this is kind of the wrinkles and stuff on your character. So generally what you wanna do is, you know, have 0 age, not much roughness, not much strength on the cheeks. You can see very little difference there. The one that I like to mess around with here is the overall, the other one here. So we take that down. Again, this character is a default character, doesn't really have much, but if we increase the strength, you can see, let's take off the morph gizmo right now, okay? So you can see right there that we're having a lot more, you know, pores on the skin there. If we increase the strength. I like to do is take that strength down though, because we don't want to have too many pores on this poor little kid's face, all right? All right, so we're gonna work with that. And roughness, all up to you to decide what you want to do. Okay, but one thing I like to do is have freckles on my kids like this. Go to freckles and throw on some freckles, maybe on the nose or the cheek, and you can have increase the amount. Okay, so just right there, for example, and you can increase the density or decrease the density. Okay, and there's also tan you can throw in as well, so like the cheek. There's a sunburn. Okay, if he's been outside playing outside for too long, there's a sunburn option. Nose option right here. Okay, so let's kind of keep that maybe nose option. I think that looks okay. And we'll just work with that. Head ambient occlusion, we're not going to worry about that. So that's basically it. There's cosmetic stuff you can throw in there as well. Like if you want to have like blushed cheeks, maybe your kid has like kind of a cute kind of blush on their cheeks. Just throwing that like that. Okay, so a little bit of blush on the cheeks there. I think we'll just work with that. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but lips, eyeliner, eyeshadow. We don't want any eyeshadow basically for that. So all these we can basically put to like none or soft or whatever. Okay, not much of an effect. Okay, so there we go. That's our character. So let's throw in some clothing. Okay, some people are saying the sound is going up and down. I'm not sure what I can do about that. Should be okay. Unfortunately, I can't adjust any settings here. Some people are saying the sound is going up and down. So apologies for that. All right. Okay, now it's normal, some people are saying. Okay, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. I'm not sure what happened there. But let's continue and throw on some clothing. I'll try and talk a little louder and clearer directly into the mic. Hopefully that will help. All right, so I'll just throw on some clothing really quick here. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this character because we have to get to the pipeline stuff as well. So I'm going to go to just essential clothing. Now this is from the pack that I showed you earlier, the essential clothing pack. Highly recommend checking it out. Okay, so just throw a t-shirt on him here. All right, and then we'll throw some pants on there as well. We can go to the essential clothing pants. There's shorts and stuff and track pants. Why not just throw on some kind of olive green pants here. All right, looks like your typical teenager. We'll throw on some shoes there. And there's a hip hop shoes here. So there's also a hip hop pack as well that I kind of recommend checking out. So you got some kind of cool looking high tops. And also the hip hop pack has some cool pants too. Kind of like these more modern like dancer type pants. Like this, okay, a lot of kids seem to be wearing these days. What do I know? I'm getting up there in age, so I'll just yeah, okay. Those are the hip hop pants, anyways, and I'll just delete those. I kind of like the shorts more, but they're pretty cool hip hop pants if you have the occasion for that. Okay, so there is our character. I'm not going to worry too much about anything else, except for on the shirt. Now we're going to go into the appearance editor on the shirt. And I'm just going to go ahead and move this little section over here. In order to have this red highlight on the screen, I have to have this little window open, which is kind of getting in the way. But anyways, let's go back to the appearance editor for the t-shirt and activate the appearance editor. And I'll show you a tiny little bit about the stripes and decals. And we're going to basically be just creating our own normal map really quickly. Okay, so for the t-shirt, go in here, there's input maps right here. If we select diagnostic and we enable that, we can see the entire thing is just black, okay? And what that means is we only need to worry about one single fabric, okay? So I'm going to go into the fabric section here, and the only one we have to worry about is this base fabric black, okay? Everything's gonna be taken care of in this base fabric black. So you can see down here, we have all these values here. We can adjust lightness. You don't have it too light like that. Saturation and everything. Okay, so these are the overall values. And you can just double click again to set it back to the default value. And let's go back to down here. So that's the fabric and pattern. So there's no plaid pattern right here. You can see with the plaid, we have basically just white stripes. All these have different opacities. If we take these stripes off, you can see the difference on his shirt. Okay, so we can go to a value like this. And that's basically just in a plaid section. So that's an embedded pattern, embedded plaid pattern with your character. And we're only using stripe 1 right now. If we wanted to change this, we can change it to like a light blue, for example. Go ahead and do that. All right, so there you go. You can change the color of that striped. Okay, and then, yeah, all the other stuff, the rotation and stuff like that. If you want to adjust the rotation of the stripes like this, you can have it vertical stripes as opposed to horizontal stripes, but to each their own. I just kind of want to show you where those stripes are on your character. All right, and lastly, I'm going to throw on a decal here. Okay, so decal really quickly. Now the decals, basically you need to make sure that your input type, or your type is set to input here. And we're going to load in a diffuse map here. And I have one saved, I believe, in a different folder than this one. Or you know what, we can throw in one of these decals here, because these ones are included with the essential pack that I mentioned. Maybe none of these are really useful for a child though. We have skulls and crossbones and stuff here. Let's use the one I originally had, which was in a different folder here. Gotta go to my webinars folder, character creator. All right, we can use one of these like a 7-Eleven or a FedEx, whatever symbol you want. Okay, I think I had one for the Toronto Blue Jays somewhere, baseball team. Here we go. The Toronto Blue Jays logo. This is the one I'm going to be adding on there right now. Okay, so just throw that on. Wait, give it a sec for it to load up. There we go. So it's going to show right about there on the left chest, left section of the chest there. What we want to do is we want to change our diffuse values. Double click on diffuse HSL. It'll go back to the default values here. So there's our decal. We can adjust the width and height scale right there. Okay, maybe the color of the shirt doesn't really coordinate well with the logo, but I just kind of wanted to show you how easy it is to add a decal on there. And then the translate is basically moving your logo up and down, left and right. Okay, so we'll just kind of place it right in the middle there. Probably one of the, hope the Toronto Blue Jays don't sue me for this ugly design. But okay, there you go. Now what you can do is if you want to add a bit more texture, because when you look at the design here, it just basically looks like it's flat. It doesn't really have a lot of texture on it. So what you can do is you can actually create your own normal map. So I'm going to do that by going into Photoshop here. A few more messages here. All right, and I'm going to go into open here, and I'm going to basically just find that same production resources webinar, the same logo that I showed you earlier. Character creator, there we are. And the Toronto Blue Jays logo. So if you have Photoshop and you want to create your own normal map, this is a really good way to do it, really simple and easy way. Just go up to filter and go to 3D and go to generate normal map. This is normally a really pretty accurate and easy way to create a normal map. Okay, so that's again, filter and then 3D and then generate normal map. And you can see the result right here. I like to kind of maybe toss it onto a soda bottle or a soda can, okay? And you can kind of rotate it here and you can see the result. So that looks like a lot better. Like it has a lot more depth to the texture, okay? And you can change the object from that to a texture map just to see the normal map by itself. And just go ahead and press OK. And then you can go ahead and save that out, blah, 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 blah. File, save as, and I'll save it as this, maybe we'll just call it normal map. Okay, we'll save over the previous normal map there. Okay, and that's it for Photoshop. Boom, done. All right, we don't need to save that out. And you want to put your normal map in here, in the normal channel there, and go ahead and load that in. All right, and once we do that, then we have to go down here to normal strength and increase the normal strength. And there you can see now we have a lot more depth on our logo, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that's how you generate your own normal map from Photoshop really quickly, how you can add decals onto your character. If you want to add effects like discoloration or tearing and stuff on your shirt, there's a lot of stuff you can do there as well, like procedural dirt. He is a kid after all, maybe he got a little bit dirty. You can have holes in there. I can enable some holes on your character's shirt there. We're not going to worry about that right now. I don't have too much time to mess around with this, but we're going to just work with that. Okay, so there's our kid, typical looking kid, I think, and we're going to export that kid to iAvatar format, first of all, okay? Because I'm going to show you how you can modify a couple of other things as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go to go up here to export to iAvatar, or you can just go to File, Export to iAvatar. And we'll load this onto our desktop here. Generally, what I would recommend for texture resolution for the skin head, you want to put that at 2048 because normally you have a lot of close-ups on your character's face, so you want to have the highest resolution of skin possible for your head. Okay, so go to Export, and we'll just call it Kiddo. All right, take it to our desktop there. Let's go load up 3D Exchange. And I'm going to swap over my screen sharing to 3D Exchange. There we go. Okay, and then File, Open, and oops, where's our character here? Kiddo. Okay, I'm just going to click and drag him into 3D Exchange. All right, so there is Kiddo. Oh, I just realized that I did Photoshop without swapping the screens for you guys. Yes, with Zoom, you have to change the screen you're sharing every time you go into a different app. So I'll just run through that really quick one more time here. I'm going to share the Photoshop screen here. All right, apologies for that, guys. So here's your logo. You want to create a normal map, go to Filter, 3D, Generate Normal Map. All right, easy as that. And there's your normal map right there. And press OK, and then just save that out. Okay, apologies for that. I just kind of forgot that you had to change the window that you're showing. All right. So we'll just close that. I'm going to share 3D Exchange now. Back to 3D Exchange. Okay, so hopefully y'all can see 3D Exchange on the screen with our character, our dude here. So now sometimes you may experience little issues with the mesh or with the clothing or something like that that you can't fix in Character Creator, or just certain morphs that you want to you wish you had the freedom of a freelance, or the freedom of a modeling software like Sculptris or something to really customize the look of your character. What you can do, I'm going to show you really quickly how to export it into OBJ format and basically just modify the mesh and import it back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select on the top left here, select CC base body. Okay. All right. There's a lot of chat going on here. Okay, so CC base body, and down at the very bottom here on the right, you'll find a replace mesh section here. Okay, so if you wanted to say, for example, make his ears even bigger, we wanted to give him like big old monkey ears. Well, then what we can do is we can just go select the body mesh right here. All right, and select export mesh, and let's just create a temporary folder on the desktop called Kiddo, okay, and just throw it in there. We'll call them kiddo.obj and save that out. It'll say successfully exported. So what we got to do is go into Sculptris. And now I got to switch over to Sculptris here. Okay, so hopefully y'all can see Sculptris now. And then in Sculptris, you want to import your OBJ going over here. Sculptris is a free program, by the way, so I'd highly recommend checking it out. Even if you want to just experiment with this stuff on your own, go into Sculptris and you can do a lot of cool things with it. So go to import OBJ, and let's find that folder there, kiddo, and import kiddo. Now you want to make sure you create a new scene, okay? And you don't want to go to paint in this case. So here is our character's body mesh. You can see there's no clothing on it, just the body, okay? And this is what we want to use. So if I wanted to, you know, bring out my character's ears, for example, even further than they were before, of course we can do that using the slider in the character creator. But I just want to show you a really quick example here. We're just going to go ahead and use the grab tool right here. And I'm going to just use the left bracket key to make my grab a little bit smaller. And let's try and just grab the ear if we can. And maybe just grab it and bring it a little bit further out. Okay, maybe this way is better. There we go. Let's give him one ear that's a little bit lopsided, just so you can see the difference. So again, this level of modeling, of modification, you can't really do in Character Creator. Okay, like little details like that. So you can see his left ear is a little bit extruding a little bit more than his right ear. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just go ahead and export that as another OBJ. Okay, now there's a couple things to keep in mind here. One thing is you don't want to change the topology of your character mesh. So you have to make sure that you have the same poly count on your character. If you change the amount of polygons when you do this function, it's not going to recognize it when you import it back into 3D Exchange, and it's not going to work. Okay, so I don't have any change poly mesh or anything like that on. I'm going to go to export to OBJ. We'll call this kiddo2. Okay, and give that a save. And we'll close down Sculptris for now. We don't need Sculptris anymore. And I'm going to share 3D Exchange. There we go. Okay, so 3D Exchange. So now what we got to do is make sure that we have that CC-based body selected and replace the mesh with kiddo2. Okay, and all these settings are fine. Just go ahead and keep that. Now you can see he has that left ear that's a little bit lopsided, a little bit further out than the right ear. Okay, so that's how you can use, and you can do the same process with ZBrush or Max or Maya or Blender, whatever software you use. Just kind of showing you how you can really easily import and export the OBJ. Okay, and then with your character, what you want to make sure is you can go into the expression editor as well with your character. And where's the expression editor? I forget. Here we go. Base setup. And select that and make sure that all of your stuff here, most importantly is, I'm going to turn off the bones here actually. Most importantly is the eye, okay? Because I made the eye really large. And what I want to make sure is if I have the eye selected and I blink the eyes, okay? So muscles, and we go to eye blink, okay? You can see when I select eye blink, because I made the eyes so large, the blink doesn't go all the way, the blink doesn't go all the way down. So we need to actually fix that before we bring it into iClone. So we can go down here to eyes blink, and you can see the value is set at 100 right now. Let's go ahead and make sure that we have auto apply selected, okay? So this makes sure that any modifications we make will be applied. And let's change this to maybe like 130. Okay, and you can see at 130, they'll close all the way. Or 120 maybe. Nope, 130 is the one we need. Okay, enter. All right, so every time our character blinks, his eyes will now fully close, just like that. Very important to have that, and you need to make sure you have auto set, or you can just select set again, and then close that down. Okay, so there's our character. Let's give him an export into iClone here, okay? So we can just go ahead and export to iClone format. We'll just call him kiddo, blah, 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 texture. Okay, we'll export him to our default iClone folder and press OK. Okay, and at that point, I'm going to go ahead and load up iClone in the background here. And I can close down 3D Exchange. And I'm going to share, which one should we share? Let's share Character Creator for now while iClone is being exported. Okay, so while that character is, while iClone is starting up here, you should see Character Creator on the screen right now. I'll go ahead and give this character a save. If you want this character, yeah, I'm more than welcome to ask me for it. I'll give you the file here, this character file. Now, keep in mind, if you don't have some of the morphs that I use, like the essential morph pack, you're going to have watermarks on your screen. But if you want this character for some reason, yeah, feel free to email me. My email is kai@reallusion.com. It's kai@reallusion.com. So I'll go ahead and give this project a save, and I'll just save it to my desktop here. Oops, that's another project. Save it as kiddo. Okay, if you want that project, feel free to reach out. And you need also the hip hop pack for the shoes, the conforming hair pack, and I think some of the morphs that I used on the face. Okay, so we'll just work with that in iClone. Here we go. Import the character. Go to avatar up here, go to custom, and character. And kiddo should be somewhere in here. There he is. All right, throw him in there and just test out his blinking and facial features. Gosh, and then I have to show you one more thing after this, which is the export FBX, okay, and import FBX. Okay, and that's gonna be directly from 3D Exchange, or directly from our Character Creator, one of those 3 programs we're using. Okay, so select the character, animation, and facial puppet. All right. So there we go, looking very youthful in iClone with the correct lighting and everything. So we can use something like Zane's profile. Okay, and click your mouse button to blink. All right, there we go. All right, and then any of the other features like the smiley, like that. It's kind of a creepy smile, but maybe something a bit more like worried like this one. Okay, all right, so that's all successfully done. Now what I wanted to show you here as well is one final pipeline, and that is how to export directly from Character Creator. I'm gonna go back into Character Creator here. Whoops, iClone. Gosh, I gotta get used to this. Switching between iClone and, or switching between screens. So hopefully you guys can see iClone on the screen right now. Face puppet, I'll show you really quickly again here. This is the character. Blinking, just like that. All right, okay, so everything works fine. And we're just using a facial profile. Okay, new share. Let's go back to Character Creator here and share Character Creator. Okay, so what we're gonna do here quickly is export this character to FBX format. So to do that, you can go up to File and Export to OBJ. Now you can export the OBJ from here as a nude character if you want, or you can export the FBX with the clothing and everything. If you want to export to FBX without clothing, all you have to do is just delete all the clothing on your character, okay? And then export it just like that. So you have to delete the clothing first and then export it to FBX as a clothed character, but because it doesn't have any clothes, it won't matter. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Now here's a few important options here. There's delete hidden mesh. Now keep in mind, if you delete hidden mesh, if you select any of these items actually up here, you're not going to be able to re-import into Character Creator. Okay, so if I select delete hidden mesh, for example, and I want to export to Unity, for example, I can go ahead and select export. You also need to include the calibration motion, okay, which is your T-pose. Okay, make sure that's included if you want to import it back into Character Creator. So go to export, you can see here, okay, due to one of the following reasons, you can't import it back into Character Creator. There's no T-pose information, the hidden mesh is removed, and the changes in the skeleton structure for UE4. One of those reasons, my reason, is number 2. The hidden mesh was removed. Okay, so we need to make sure we deselect that and then go ahead and export, and now it'll work. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just go to this kiddo.fbx, and we'll just overwrite this kiddo that I already have saved. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's also going to export an FBX, kind of like an FBX key. Okay, so I'm going to go to that folder here, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to make sure I switch to the screen in just a moment here. I'm going to find the folder here first. Okay, so let me share this window with you here, which is kiddo.fbx. Okay, so you should be able to see the Explore window right now. So there's our kiddo.fbx, okay, 53 megs, not too bad. And it also exports with this kiddo.fbx key. Now, what you can do with this FBX file is you can mess around with it all you want. In Max, Maya, you can add clothing to it. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. You can add you know, like a hat or accessories to your character in a different software, and your, you know, your favorite modeling software, or you have stuff that you want to add in Max or Maya. And then you can import in, just save it as the same file name, okay, kiddo.fbx, and you can import it back in. So let's say, for example, I'm not going to, obviously I don't have time to do that right now, but if I had just modified a bunch of stuff on this kiddo.fbx and I've saved it back into an FBX file, I've updated the file, and I want to bring that back into Character Creator. Well, what I can do is, let's go back into Character Creator, and we go up to File and Import, and you can see all supported file formats right here. Okay, FBX is the first one. So I'm going to go to that folder. Character Creator, Kiddo. Okay, so there's our kiddo.fbx. All right, so if I don't have that FBX key file, it's going to prompt me for it, but I do have it in the same folder. Okay, so you have to have it in the same folder as your kiddo.fbx. Okay, and you can see there, it automatically detects it. So decrypt key file is what it's called. And if you open that, that's the one you need to select, this FBX key right here. Now, that's in place to DRM protect, basically. It's kind of like a DRM protection racket, okay? But if you're also creating your own clothing or your own stuff like that, your own morphs, then you're going to be happy that we have this, because, you know, that way no one can kind of steal your stuff. Basically, it's just an FBX protection thing, okay? And you can press OK. We don't need to save the current project. I already saved it. And it's going to come up with a little window here in just a moment. Now, obviously, these are basically just detecting all the different meshes. So if, for example, you decided to add on a separate mesh in Max or Maya, you decided to add on some sunglasses or something, or, you know, different set of shoes. Well, those will show up here as well as different meshes. And you want to make sure that those are passed, and you want to make sure that they're on the correct layer. So the layers are numbered 1 to 10, and they go in accordance to, you know, which one is the top layer, which one is the bottom layer, okay? I think there's more than 1 to 10, actually. Yeah, there's like 20, okay? So you can layer your clothing. If you're a big layer person, style-wise, you can layer all your stuff. Make sure it's on the correct layer. Obviously, you want your boxers below your shorts, okay? So level 2 and level 5. Okay, and then just press OK. And then when your character imports back in, of course, in this case, nothing has changed because we didn't change anything in Max or Maya. But if you did, everything will now show up just fine. Okay, so I think we're a little short on time. If you guys want to learn how to create morph sliders, you can ask me in the Q&A session, okay? If you want to learn how to create your own custom morph sliders, I can answer that for you. But let's go ahead. I'm going to check the chat really quick to see if there's anything important. A lot of stuff in the chat. Okay, but I'm going to answer all the questions right now in the Q&A section, or in the Q&A window. Okay, so I'm not going to be paying too much attention to the chat window. Okay, guys? So if any questions at this moment, please put those in the Q&A section there. Okay, so yeah, we're going to move on to that for the last 10, 15 minutes or so, and we'll go from there. Okay, so Q&A. Okay, I think I can, this is actually the first time I've answered any questions. Okay. So, okay, thanks. I can, okay, so Charles asks, he's looking for something called G3 Clone Cloth for Essential Man Volume 1 in the content store. How can I tell if this content works with Character Creator 2 characters? And what is the content requirement? This product is significantly cheaper than the Reallusion Essential Clothing. Okay, so Charles, I can tell you this for certain. The G3 Clone Cloth for Essential Man, that will not work with Character Creator characters at this time. Because they're different generations of characters. It's kind of like in DAZ, you know, trying to put like I don't know, a G3 or, you know, Genesis 3 characters clothing on a Genesis 8 character. It just doesn't have the correct weighting and everything like that for the clothing to fit properly. I mean, if you wanted to do it manually yourself, you can go ahead and do that. But the G3 Clone Cloth, G3 is like iClone 5, I think, maybe even iClone 4. So it's a much older version. The Essentials, I mean, I'm not even trying to sell anything here. The Essentials that's why they call it the Essentials, is kind of, if you want anything to do with character customization, I'd really recommend picking up those Essentials, that Essential pack that I mentioned there. And I say that, you know, totally honestly, because you'll use it all the time in the future. A question from Peter. When you exported from Character Creator, you only set the head to high res. I usually always set all my resolutions, with the exception of minor hair stuff like hair. Okay, so Peter's question is generally about the export resolution from Character Creator. Myself, I have always, I mean, unless you're really focusing on your character's clothing, I mean, it really depends. Obviously, you want to have the highest resolution possible for everything. But if for me, for example, a lot of my stuff deals with Unreal Engine. So I want to try and save as much resources as possible on textures. And there's other ways you can make textures look good as well, with like the proper lighting and normal maps and stuff like that, tessellation and whatnot. The textures I find tend to take up a lot of resources. So again, it really depends on the project you're using, the project you're in. If you have a lot of extra resources, yeah, go ahead, put maximum resolution for all your textures. But if you're trying to save resources, I'd always recommend having the face high resolution, but you don't have to do that necessarily for the body. Okay, so Peter asks, how can you create consistency in the skin tones from head parts to the body parts? Well, that is done in the appearance editor. Actor right here. Whoops. Oh, yeah, we've imported the character back in, so we'd have to basically assign just like this here. We need to assign a different substance to this t-shirt now. So when you import your character via FBX again, by the way, this is kind of inadvertently came across this issue. So if you wanted to modify your t-shirt now, if you wanted to modify the texture after you've imported it back in or imported it in from Maya, we'll say this is a custom shirt that I added in Maya. You can add a substance texture to it right here. And you can select like a 3 material texture. And that's basically going to open up a whole bunch of options for you there for that shirt to modify. Okay, so once you've gone through this process that I just showed you here, then on your custom imported FBX, it'll assign a substance material to that shirt. Okay, so keep that in mind. And so stuff you can do like, well, I don't know, materials, base. We can throw a generator in there, like a leather generator, any stuff like that. Okay, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. That's a whole new bucket of our can of worms that I don't want to open right now. I just wanted to remind people, I see some people posting the questions in the chat window. Just a reminder to put those in the Q&A window as opposed to the chat window, okay? Because I'm just gonna ignore the chat window for now since the Q&A. Okay, so hopefully I answered that for you there, Peter. The skin tones from head to body. Yeah, so kind of got sidetracked there. There's, let me just load up the project I had earlier on. It's pretty easy, to be honest. Oh gosh, okay. Let's see, nope. I'll show you that in just a moment. Let me just move on to the next one here really quickly. Okay, so I'm not sure what happened here with my, oh, yes. So the skin and the body, they have their own separate sections, basically. I mean, I don't want to get into too much detail on that since we're kind of waiting for stuff to load. So while I'm waiting for that, a quick question I can answer from Val Anderson. How do we scale the character versus adult size with no visible grid or metrics? What I like to do, gosh, we don't have the metrics on here. Do we have that? Nope, there's no, oh, there's the grid anyways. I know in 3D Exchange we have that little item that we can show. No, unfortunately not in this one. What I generally just do is maybe add a prop in there, like an accessory, stuff like this, just throw in a box. Okay, and you can kind of use the crate as a as a reference. Okay, I know in 3D Exchange we do have that that little yellow character that we use. I don't think we have it in Character Creator though. There's like a yellow kind of outline of a character that you can use for size reference. But I guess, you know, when you're stuck, just use the best thing that works, which in this case could be this crate. Okay, I'll just delete that from now. That would be the question from Val. Okay, so back to Peter's question about the skin head and the skin body. Okay, so two sections right here, skin head, skin body. Just make sure you have the same values in stuff like this, the head base, for example. There's a tone variation, all these sliders. You want to make sure that these are the same as the stuff in the body, okay? So under skin for the body, there's the body base. Okay, we have the same sliders right there, same sliders right there. Make sure those are all the same. Okay, so hopefully that answers that for you there. Okay. Just take a couple of these out here so I can get things more organized. Okay, next question is from Frank. If I want to modify clothing mesh, do I need to have the export license for the cloth product? That's a good question from Frank. Actually, if you want to modify a cloth mesh, yes, you do need to have the export license for that cloth product, unfortunately. You can throw on your own custom-made cloth, like in, what's that, Marvelous Designer, and import that in with your own custom creation. However, for stuff that you export directly from Character Creator, if it comes from any of the packs, the default stuff, I believe the default stuff that is included for free with Character Creator, you don't need the export license for that because, well, obviously there is no export license to be had. So stuff like, let's see, the coats or stuff like these boxers, I believe these boxers, for example, come free with Character Creator. You can export these without needing an export license because it comes embedded with the software. Yeah, so hopefully that answers that question for you there, unfortunately. Yeah, you do need an export license for any cloth bases that that we create or that any developers create as well. Okay, so Anthony asks here, will you be implementing a retopology addition to assist with creating cloth within Character Creator in future versions? Retopology addition. That is something I've heard echoes of, although it's not in the immediate future. Although I can tell you for certain that Character Creator is one of our main focuses in the coming year, and we will be trying to improve it as much as possible. And you can probably expect something like that in the future. However, I don't have any timeline for that right now, unfortunately, Anthony. Yeah, so I can't really give you a solid answer for that. Okay, let's move on to the next question here. Annie mentions how to create your own morph sliders. Okay, so let's do this real quick. So there's a create option up here, create morph slider, okay? So let's say, for example, I took this character and I wanted to, let's just actually start a new project here. And I'm gonna just really quickly throw this character into, again, just reset it all. For those of you who wanna learn how to create your own morph sliders. By the way, you can actually buy and sell morph sliders on the content store, okay, or on the marketplace as well. So if you want to make some money selling stuff, you can follow this procedure right here. So take your character, you can export to OBJ or to iAvatar format. I'm just going to go ahead and export to OBJ. Okay, nude character. All right. So here we go. Only the body. Okay, just the body part. I'll create something maybe like a simple one, like a pregnancy morph, for example. Okay, so I'm just going to export this as an OBJ to my desktop. I'll just go to that kiddo folder. Okay, so let's call it nude. Okay, and I'm going to go into Sculptris here, and don't worry, I'm going to be sharing my Sculptris screen. Now that I remember to do that. Okay, and import in that nude. Okay, new scene, no. Okay, so here we go. Let's make ourselves a pregnancy morph. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this grab feature. Let's use the right bracket key to bring it a little bit up like that, and let's bring out the belly like that. How pregnant, you ask? Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how many months pregnant that might be. But 3, 4. I'm a guy. I'm not really smart with these kind of things. Okay, so we'll say that's your little baby pregnancy morph. Okay, so same procedure. Just go ahead and export that OBJ, and we'll call it pregnancy. Okay, and we're good to go. Oh, by the way, when you export from OBJ, you want to make sure you have this option selected. Under options here, you want to make sure you export vertex normals in OBJ. This is very important. If you don't have this, it's going to be like a pretty wild result. You can try it on your own time if you want, but make sure you have that export vertex normals in OBJ. Okay, and we'll close down Sculptris right now, and I'm going to just switch over to where were we? Character Creator. Okay, so let's do this. Create morph slider. It's like category body. This is a body slider. Okay, we don't need to worry about the path right now. We'll just call it pregnancy. We can select a minimum morph value, a maximum morph value, a thumbnail if you want. It shows up on the right-hand side here. The source morph is the default morph right here. Okay, this is the default. I should just use the current morph, okay, because this is like the default one is the female. The current one is this one, androgynous character right here. And the target morph is a file. So we're going to go to our file, and where did I save that? Gosh, desktop, I believe. Under kiddo, yeah, okay. So there's a pregnancy OBJ. Okay, so let's go ahead and load that in. And you find, again, you have to find that key file, like I mentioned before, because you create your own morph, you want to protect it, blah, blah, blah. You have to export with that OBJ key file. same as the FBX file I showed you earlier. So that'll be saved in the same folder, okay, as your kiddo, okay. So let's call that nude, okay, and then just go ahead and press OK, and then go to our morphs here and type in pregnancy, the search field. Okay, so I didn't bother with the path, but you should. This is my pregnancy morph slider right there. Oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. There we go. The 2-second pregnancy. There you go. All right, so I guess there's also one that's probably a lot better than mine. This pregnant slider. This comes with the essential pack, I believe. This pregnant one, but yeah, add them together. Have a oblong-shaped baby. Anyways, okay, so that's how you create a morph slider. Hope that's clear as mud for you guys. Let's get to the next question. Alvin, I bought the curve editor, 3D Exchange and iClone in order to get the pipeline. I still have to pay the price tag. I'm not sure what you bought here. Okay, so just to clear up version issues with some people, because iClone only has like one version now. We really only have iClone. 3D Exchange, there's a pipeline version. So if you want to export anything from the iClone character creator environment into external software, that means you need the pipeline version of that of 3D Exchange. So you need the pipeline license. Eventually, we're going to phase out 3D Exchange, and we're only going to just sell the license. So basically, you'll be exporting everything from character creator or iClone. Okay, we won't actually have a program called 3D Exchange possibly in the future. So I'm not sure exactly what the price tag that you're mentioning there is for. Maybe you can clarify that for me, Alvin. Anthony mentions, will you be providing better skin textures and or ability to edit skin texture details, etc.? There's much better skin textures included with that essentials pack that I mentioned earlier. You can also generate your own skin textures. I believe we'll probably be releasing packs in the future in terms of skin and other stuff. But you know, as to when that will be, I'm totally not sure. But yeah, there will be better skin textures in the future, Anthony, to sort of answer your question there. Okay, so I'll make sure that we're in character creator here. Okay. I should have the body a lot better. Okay, so Charles asks, what is the current generation of character, the G generation of character? 7, I guess, but we don't really call it 7. Let's go over here to our avatar accessories. I'm in the custom folder here. All right, characters. So we have like Jade and Zane. These two fine-looking models are version 7. The G6 was Heidi and Mason. So these ones right here, that's for a different folder. Heidi and Mason don't actually exist anymore, so they don't have them in iClone 7 anymore. Let me just make sure that we, whoops. Nope, so we don't have, sorry, I just forgot to switch screens there. So Jade and Zane here are the version 7. I wanted to show you guys. Heidi, this is kind of like an upgraded version of Heidi. We had Heidi and Mason from iClone 6, but they're not included as default in the version 7. Yeah, so these are the ones that you're stuck with right here, the base male and base female. These are the base male and base female are the same topography from the version 6, I believe, and Zane and Jade are the upgraded 7 versions. And a couple of Toka Motion embedded stuff there as well. If you have the curve editor, you get Curve Man. So yeah, currently we're generation 7 to answer your question succinctly there. Okay, Annie asks, how can we resize a clothed character down to dwarf, elf, baby, toddler size with oversized clothing? Well, that's a tricky one because you can certainly size down your character to toddler size. However, the oversized clothing, I've never actually tried to do that. But you can edit the mesh. Like I showed you earlier, when I showed you how to make the character's ears one ear bigger, you can also do that to your clothing meshes as well. So you also have the option of exporting the cloth mesh just by itself, and you can really just size that up or stretch it out, whatever you want in your software, and then re-import that mesh. But again, make sure that you have the same poly count, otherwise it's not going to work. So my workflow, if I wanted to make a toddler with oversized clothing, I would basically just export that shirt mesh, say for example an oversized shirt. I would export that shirt mesh into ZBrush, and I would just kind of maybe enlarge it, or even just Maya. You can just enlarge it or something. Depends on how you want it to drape over your character, obviously. With oversized clothing, there's always the danger of materials cutting into each other and intersecting each other. So it's kind of a tricky thing, but you can certainly do that. And you can also modify the character mesh in Character Creator as well. I'll switch over to Character Creator really quickly here and show you. Hopefully you can see Character Creator right now. And we need to have some clothing on our character, obviously. Let's make an oversized t-shirt, or this shirt here. Whatever's convenient. All right, so if you wanted to have like this shirt oversized, you can select the shirt and go to edit mesh mode. This is our very, very basic rudimentary way to make mesh larger or modify the mesh. I'm going to select soft selection here and just kind of select this area. You could bring it out like this. And then you select this area, bring it out like that. That would be one way, an easy way you could enlarge your clothing. So just imagine this is a toddler's body instead of a grown man's body, and we just stretch out the material like this. Again, I'm spending literally 2 seconds on this, stretching it up. So now, of course, it looks a little bit overstretched, right? So same process, just with different character and whatever. But I would also recommend possibly taking it into another software if you wanted more detailed tools than our edit mesh mode in Character Creator. All right, I am sharing. Okay, just wanted to double check that. Answered a couple of questions. Okay, so hopefully with Ken Kawashima there, I showed you how to create the custom morph dial. Okay. Any sock packs anywhere, says Sam? Yeah, the socks. Where even are the socks? I think an accessory is here. I rarely wear socks myself, so I'm not even sure where the socks are here. Essential clothing, I think there must be something in here, right? Oh, maybe an underwear. This is kind of stupid. I can't remember where all the socks are here. Pretty sure they're in shoes. Nope. I literally have not added socks to a character probably in a year. Okay, there's all the shoes. Here's this one. Okay, yeah, this one looks fine. Leg. There's just too many darn sections here, guys. I'm not going to just keep throwing around here. Gosh, this is silly. Maybe someone can in the chat window show me where the socks are, because if they've added socks more recently than I have, I always forget where the socks are found. That's silly. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So Sam, there is socks included. I know for sure there's socks. Just can't remember where I've added them from. But there are in different packs, different socks. Not in the shoe section. Are they in the underwear section? Gosh, this is so silly. This is gonna bug me. All right, you know what? I'm gonna give up for now. And there's scarves. I thought they'd be in leg, right? This is silly. Okay, so I'm gonna just skip that for now. Hopefully someone knows where the socks are. They can kind of, okay, so I got a question or a comment here from Nelson, says the socks are in the professional pack. So they must be in the, professional outfit. There's boots. This one maybe. Oh, here we go. Okay, we found them, guys. Yes, the professional outfits packs. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you very much for that. In this section here, cloth and others. And only in the professional outfits pack will you find all the socks. So there's ankle socks here. There's calf socks and various other fingerless gloves, long socks. Okay, that's in the professional outfits pack. All right, save my bacon there. Okay, so that's the iClone professional. Yeah, should be able to find it. I'll just throw that in the chat window there for you guys. Pretty good pack for sure. I've used this on multiple occasions. I'm going to throw that in the chat window. Okay, in case you're interested. It took longer than I wanted it to. Okay, so Don asks, how do I design my character drawing to model into Character Creator? Do I need other software to do this? I don't recommend, well, yeah, I think in Character Creator what you can do is you can change the background. I've never actually done any modeling off of anything like that in Character Creator, but if you can go to Atmosphere, I believe, and you can throw your like an image on here. But what you might want to do, yeah, I'd probably just, have your image side by side beside Character Creator. There's no real option here to load an image within the software. I would probably just, have a Microsoft Paint window open beside it there for you, Don. We don't have a image showing in Character Creator that kind of put beside the model while you're modeling it. Okay, so Ed asks, I would like to make a morph slider for only the head morphs, not the body morphs. How? Okay, so Ed, similar process. When you create a morph slider, select category, select head. Okay, basically the same thing. Instead of body, select head. When you export OBJ, whoops, let me just close this down for now. Choose the body. Yeah, I guess you do have to export the entire body. I thought there might have been a head option, but it's the body. Just make sure you don't select full body, just select, or make sure you select full body, not body, okay, when you're using the head, because the body will only be the body. The full body will include the head. I think there's a technical reason why we don't have a separate one for the head, because of the connection between the head and the body, apparently. So if you have the head and you modify the mesh too much, it won't connect with the body mesh correctly. Like you'll have kind of stuff jutting out there and stuff. So yeah, you do have to export using full body for that, Ed. And then when you import, use that head option like I showed you. Rowdy Brian, are there any plans to do webinars on physics? The videos I'm using to teach my students use iClone 5. It depends on what kind of physics. I know in the near future we're going to have a video on cloth physics for DAS Genesis 8 characters. However, for your general physics, I'm not totally sure. That's actually a good suggestion. Rowdy, if you need more tutorials on physics, we can certainly update those, because like you mentioned, they haven't been updated since I think iClone 5. So we can consider that for future tutorials. A lot of stuff to be learned in physics for sure. And I'm the guy who does most of the tutorials, as you probably know. So I can probably get that done for you. Not sure when, but we'll try and get it done in the near future. So Ian asks, which button do you select to send your character or clothing to Photoshop? That's easily answered, Ian. So just select your characters, clothing, and whatever map you want to export. Same thing goes for iClone. Select your map here, diffuse, for example. You can save it out. You can adjust the color, or you can launch it. And you have to launch it, and that'll launch whatever software you use to edit your images. Okay, so you can't see Photoshop right now, I don't think, but it launched it in Photoshop. Okay, so just use that launch option down here. You can also launch the UV reference map here as well. Okay, so slowly pounding through all these questions here. We're gonna have to kind of end this off a little in probably about 5-10 minutes here, guys. So Tim asks, do you do a webinar wherein you slowly go through the pipeline steps such as CC to 3D Exchange to Sculptris? Yeah, Tim, we have a bunch of tutorials that we do that. I can't really spend time finding them right now, but maybe you can email me at a later date there, Tim, and I can just search for those and provide you the links. There's I think 2 or 3 tutorials that go into the pipeline steps, like you mentioned, with Sculptris and stuff. So make sure you email me later. My email is kai@reallusion.com. That's kai@reallusion.com. Okay, so somebody else wanted to know how to make some more sliders. Holy cow, we got a lot of questions here. I already mentioned the read topology option for custom clothing. Not quite at this moment. That's a question from Anthony Walden. No read topology option for custom clothing at the moment, but it's going to be considered in the future here. Yeah, it's the squared polygons as opposed to the triangular ones. Okay, no worries. Awesome. A bunch of comments here. So Tony asks, when you get poorly fitting clothes, where is the best place to fix this and how? All right, so if you have poorly fitting clothing, like this shirt, for example, go up here to conform, and you can calculate collision, and it'll generally just, well, unless you've modified the mesh, it'll calculate the cloth to your character generally, okay? Let's maybe say, for example, let's use that pregnant option that we had before to demonstrate this. Okay, so if you wanted to conform differently to your character's body, use the conform option. Whoops, shirt, conform, and calculate collision. You can choose loose fitting here as well, like a value of 10 or 1, for example, and smooth out the mesh. These are really detailed settings that you need to kind of find a good example for, but you can also increase the size there as well. Here's another one for loose fitting clothing. Okay, increasing the size, I forgot to mention this one. Okay, so that'll be really loose fitting clothing. This one's probably a lot easier than the option I showed you before. I think that was Annie Bell who had asked that. So increased size is a good option here. Okay, for loose fitting clothing. I had mentioned that you can export that or use the mesh editor, but realize that we also have this increased size slider. 3 different ways you can do it. All right, so hopefully that answers your question there, Tony. Peter asks, how did you turn on the grid in Character Creator? The grid can be turned on and off by Control-G, using the Control-G hotkey, okay? Control-G turns your grid on and off. Tim asks, will you have a webinar exclusively on 3D Exchange with all its pipeline features? We possibly will, but like I mentioned, we're probably phasing out 3D Exchange. So we're going to wait until we get an update for that. And then we'll probably have a whole tutorial series for the new pipeline, like exporting directly from iClone or directly from Character Creator. All right. Okay, so Frank mentions, if I have a bunch of morph sliders I want to sell, how do I need to package them up for sale? Maybe this is better for a full webinar. Yeah, we can do a tutorial on that. Probably be about 15 minutes or so. for a tutorial on how to do that. We do have a tutorial that talks about how to create custom morph sliders. And Frank, if you email me after this, I can send you the link for that tutorial. But we don't have one on publishing, which I think we might need to have in the near future here as well. I'll write that down. Publishing morph sliders. Yeah, that's a good idea, because I don't think we ever got around to that. But we do have some developers who kind of figured it out by themselves. But it might be encouraging to other people to have that tutorial available for them. So I made a note of that, Frank, and hopefully we'll get to that in the future. Another Frank asks, are character creator sliders animatable within iClone? Unfortunately, at this moment, not at the moment. However, we do have the morph animation feature in iClone that you can morph stuff. I'm not sure if your own custom sliders can be animated. I believe they might be able to, actually. Email me at a later date, again, with that, Frank, because I kind of am sketchy on the history of that. I know they made an improvement, but I'm not sure. I didn't make a tutorial on that yet. So yeah, the morph, your custom sliders animatable within iClone, I think so, to be honest, but I just haven't done it myself. So I have to kind of review that. All right. Okay, so again, just email me, because I'm kind of running short on time here, guys. Email me with any questions that I may not have answered. Sherry asks a good question about a webinar in relation to importing clothes from Marvelous Designer. And we do have some tutorials on that. And Sherry, again, you can email me at a later date. They're all on our Reillusion channel. But you can email me as well if you want a link to that. Okay, so hopefully I answered Ian's question there about exporting to Photoshop. Yeah, just okay. Yeah, socks are in the professional pack. Okay, getting to the sock stuff here. Will we able to? Wayne asks a good question. Will we ever be able to do our own weight maps inside Character Creator? That is a feature that we'd like to incorporate in the future as well. Unfortunately, Wayne, I can't give you a solid timeline on that, but we are aware of that request. And we've had that request previously from other users. So that will be something that's considered in the near future here as well. So Andy asks, is there any way to import TuneMaker 2 characters into Character Creator for adding beards and clothing? Unfortunately, they don't have the same bone structure as Character Creator characters, so we can't import those into Character Creator yet. I don't know if we ever will. We are supporting certain rigs like Daz characters, for example. So in the future, you'll be able to import in your Daz characters into Character Creator and modify them. But TuneMaker 2 characters, I'm not totally sure. I wouldn't count on it, to be honest, unfortunately. So sorry about that, Annie. Okay. So Mark asks, can you import the Daz D-Force cloth into Character Creator? We are currently working on that at the moment. At this time, you would have to, rig it on or kind of attach it to your Character Creator character. So not at the moment, but that is something that we are working really feverishly on at this moment, importing in Daz cloth into Character Creator. Okay. Okay, it seems like that's multiple questions, or questions that were asked multiple times here. That have a long list of questions to go through. It says I've answered 62 so far, which I don't think it's that many. Okay, let me go down here. Yeah. Okay, so Okay, good. A couple other questions here, just comments about Zoom and getting kind of requests for extra info on 3D Exchange and stuff like that. Again, my email is always open for you guys if you have any further questions, but I'm going to try to kind of just end off this webinar here because we're about almost 40 minutes over time now. So yeah, hopefully, apologies again for the little kinks that we had to work out with the Zoom software, and mostly just me forgetting to switch off switch the windows, because you do have to do that, something you didn't have to do with GoToWebinar. But with Zoom, I can kind of type secret messages while you're still only seeing the character creator screen, which is kind of fun. And I can also do kind of cool stuff like draw like a happy face. That's a really lopsided happy face, or stars and stuff like that. We have annotations and stuff like this. So yeah, hopefully at some point I'll be able to use this feature in the future, because I kind of want to. But anyways, enough of me blabbering on. I'm sure you're all eager to get back to whatever you're doing. I'm going to go back to watching some playoff hockey. So yeah, and having some dinner. So again, thanks so much everyone for attending. Again, make sure you fill out the survey. Make sure you check your email for the survey. We're going to be sending you the video again at some point. And yeah, I think we're good to go from that point on. So I'm going to just go ahead and sign off, and hopefully see you guys in some future tutorials and future webinars. So thanks so much for attending, and we'll leave it off there.